Well, good morning, YouTube world. My name is Joshua Coates and your overnight success story, and this is the Baby J Show. I'm gonna do a slight little intro here, or a slight little one-liner. Bringing the community together, one podcast at a time. So today I'm really excited. I have Dr. David Gallegos with me today. And I'm putting the camera on you. What I would like to do, first, there's so much. Please, whether you want to look at me, look at the camera, tell the audience who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Dr. David Gallegos. I am a naturopathic physician here in the Valley. I've been practicing for about 6 years now. I own Modern Medicine AZ. And really, my clinic and my focus of the entire entity of modern medicine is in preventative and in longevity, right? And so we really help patients going through the aging process, and we assist them in preventing diseases that we know are sometimes inevitable, sometimes genetically predisposed to, sometimes our environment is increasing the risk of certain diseases and certain issues. And so we look at those things, look at the base of their health state, and then we look at the future, and then we develop that, 10, 20, 30-year plan. What does that look like individually? What are your health goals? What are your family goals? What are your financial goals? Because if you don't have the foundation of health, you're not really going to be able to achieve a lot of those things that sometimes you think that are important to you, right? So in my opinion, health is the core foundation of any goal setting, entity. And so that's kind of like the gist of the clinic. Me personally.
Bring the mic closer to your mouth.
Sure.
Yeah. Just so there you go.
Better?
Yeah.
Yeah. So me personally, I'm from Mexico City, born and raised. I've been here for about 23 years, moved here when I was 12. And went through middle school, high school. And really the biggest reason why is because, obviously parents are always want to give you a better opportunity for your kids, right, in your future. And we noticed that in the city, there was a lot of opportunities, but also there was a lot of crime, a lot of other problems that, my folks just didn't want to, raise
with
a family. Yeah. And so.
What part?
Mexico City.
Okay,
I mean, I don't even remember the
smaller town or whatever.
Yeah. But so after that we moved here, and went through high school, and then I went to U of A for my undergrad. So I did a major in microbiology and then Spanish interpretation translation, because I wanted to really continue to educate myself in my language, and in more of a professional setting when it comes to those very specific types of terminology and things like that, just so I can properly communicate with my patients eventually, So I always kind of knew that I wanted to be in the medical field. I wouldn't say that I wanted to be a physician or a doctor, but I knew that I wanted to do something medically for a while. And I was actually applying to PA programs.
What is a PA program?
It's a physician associate degree. So I think it's a 2 to 3 year program, depending on the schooling. But you get more of the general medicine, and then you can go to, emergency
whatever you want to
medicine.
Specialize in or something like that?
You can do like a subspecialty, or you can, individualize whatever you want to go. But a lot of them will go more general based. And they will do a lot of patient care. They're even in ORs helping surgeons, or they can be clinically, in patient care. So that's kind of what I wanted to do. And then after I was going through the process of applying, I stumbled upon, at the time, was called Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine, which is a school here in Tempe. And I really liked their approach, of naturopathic medicine. I've never heard of this term. I didn't know what it was. And I did more research on what it is and, the schooling and all of that. And so I just knew that that's really what I wanted to do. And so I, decided to switch sort of careers and options. And I dove just, fully committed into that, learning and teaching. And so naturopathic medicine, for those that don't know,
that's literally what I was going to ask. So that way,
yeah. So it's a 4-year medical degree. The difference between a naturopathic doctor or a physician and a naturopath, which is important to know.
Yeah.
So a naturopath, a lot of times they just take like a weekend course, like a quick learning. Like,
and that's exaggerating, right? Like they'll take more than that, but like it's
sometimes, but they don't really have that clinical medical experience that the naturopathic doctors or the naturopathic physicians do, right?
Okay.
So we're an accredited 4-year medical school. There's schools in Canada, U.S., and Puerto Rico.
So just to be clear, so a naturopath. Because I've seen friends, loved ones go to a naturopath because they didn't want to just take pills or any type of, some type of medication that they were just prescribed.
Yeah.
They wanted to find a better way to heal whatever it is that was ailing them. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, from what I've experienced, not me personally, but from like other people, there's no, what is it called? Insurance. Mm-hmm. I guess insurance doesn't cover a naturopath.
Right.
And so out of pocket, it costs a lot of money for a naturopath because they're not what you just said, correct? Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, that's also the hard thing with just the industry in general, because they are naturopathic doctors that call themselves naturopaths.
Okay.
So they still went through the 4-year training. What really comes down to is that you just got to make sure that who you're working with, whether it's a naturopath or a naturopathic physician, whatever it is, that they are an accredited, physician, right?
And when you say accredited, what is it? Is the word accreditations? Or like what?
So they should have a medical license,
okay,
which you should be able to look up on Google, right? They should be graduated from a 4-year one of these schools that I mentioned, right? Okay. That's usually, a good determination that, who you're working with went through the proper training clinically, and you should feel comfortable kind of moving forward,
Got it. Okay.
Now in the insurance piece, yeah, you're right. There's a lot and mainly a lot of us.
We don't have to go to that part, but that's one of the biggest things that like I noticed is that, and again, I don't know the industry as well as you would know the industry, so I'm not trying to get into that whole rabbit hole.
Sure.
But that is one of the biggest things that I've noticed from a naturopath versus but this is my first time hearing of a naturopathic doctor.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So now naturopathic doctor, what got you interested in the naturopathic aspect of being a doctor?
Yeah. So for me, it was, I didn't, from the beginning, even when going through PA program, kind of applying, I knew that I didn't want to be in surgery, for example, right? So I already knew that coming into the application, so that I knew I wanted to be in more preventative, maybe integrative, not integrative, but just more like internal medicine or primary care, things like that. And so when I found this program, that's practically what the whole 4-year degree is we are taught to be primary care physicians, but to have a different view of disease and to be able to offer patients other alternatives of treatments and not put them in this box, right? Of like, if your insulin and your hemoglobin A1C is elevated, you're automatically a diabetic, your metformin, your chain of reaction of medications, depending on your compliance and how you're feeling. And everyone does that. Everyone gets the same thing, right? But for me, I knew that there has to be a better way of approaching diseases and approaching care, because everyone is different, right? Everyone's bodies are different. Everyone responds to treatments differently. And so my, drive into that change was the ability for me to offer a belt of treatments that goes beyond just the medications, right? Because I am allowed to prescribe medications, just to be clear, right?
Okay, yeah.
So if needed...
Thank you for
No, I
expressing
mean,
that.
some people don't understand that, right? Some people think that,
Me, I don't understand that.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, a lot, that, maybe we just get an herb prescription or supplements, but no, we can run labs, we can run imaging, we can run, prescribe medications, right? So that's where I really got into the field, because I knew that I still wanted to practice, the, quote unquote conventional approach of medication, prescriptions, and
Is
pharmaceuticals.
it called Western medicine?
Yeah, I mean, you can call it Western medicine, allopathic medicine, there's different terms for it. But yeah, I mean, the core of the focus is to really individualize care, right? And so that's where it really caught my attention, and that's why I wanted to pursue that. So
The other question in that regard, I don't know what it looks like for you in your practice, but I have I don't know the correct terminology. So I have like family medicine doctor friends. I have eye doctor friends. And what I hear from them is that I actually had one of them. He specializes in dry eye.
okay,
Dr. Zagelbaum, good friend. Hi. A lot of them talk about how sometimes they get not bombarded, but there's so many patients that there's not enough time
right,
to individualize the care for each person. So when you were going into it, I mean, there's two questions here. So like, where did that desire come from? Like, was it parents? Was it family? Was it what you witnessed when you were a child? Like, why did you want to get into this? Or were you just so smart whenever you came out the womb that you just knew that you were going to be a doctor? And then looking further into it, like was this this had to have been like a premeditated thought where you wanted to take the time for your patients to really give them this individualized care. So is that why you went into homeopathic? So, I know there was a lot there. So like, where did it come from? We'll start there. Where did that come from?
So I think the original sort of like thought probably came from my parents, my dad. So my dad's a dentist.
Okay.
So definitely there. I didn't want to be a dentist. I knew that.
Why didn't you want to be a dentist? That's great.
I think it's just the, being exposed to that environment all the time. I think I kind of was, exposed to it daily, that it just wasn't anything exciting to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't really pinpoint to what it was,
that's
but,
fine.
But I knew that I wanted to do clinical care or like help people.
Yeah,
right? And for me, medical was the biggest, path to really help and make a change on people's lives. So
Was he always a dentist?
yeah, he's always been a dentist. But interesting enough, in Mexico, he also got a master's in homeopathy.
And what is homeopathy?
So homeopathy is a branch of, you can call it alternative medicine, which stemmed from Germany. So this is a branch of medicine without going into detail, but they use different compounds that create or cause a certain reaction if you take the full dosing. For example, if you take, I don't know, like a full dose of a like bee sting, like venom,
Okay.
right? You'll get a certain reaction. You get a rash, you get maybe fever, you get, certain things, certain symptoms.
Sure.
So homeopathy based on, if you will, the essence of that process of that molecule.
Okay.
And so they will dilute it into such a small, minute dilution of the original compound that there's practically not the original compound there anymore. It's just like the essence, they call it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a little
Okay.
kind of,
Were you gonna say woo woo? Like what is that? No.
I mean, the concept wise, it's really hard to explain, to be honest.
Sure.
But anyway, so that's kind of like the mechanism of creating this they can be tinctures, so they can be, liquid formulations. They can be into pellets.
Yeah.
So like small little sugar cubes, and then they take it in X amount of times. So that's kind of how the preparation of that works. Internally, what it does is it'll counteract the symptoms that the original compound causes. So if you drink something that causes fever, that causes headache, that causes X, Y, and Z,
inflammation, whatever.
right? And then if you take that into a diluted version of it, which is the homeopathic dilution, internally it will battle those symptoms. So people that have those symptoms, it'll sort of neglect each other out, internally, and then they should get better.
So was that what your father was doing?
So he was using it as an adjunct therapy during dentistry.
Oh,
so he would still do a lot of dentistry, but you get patients that will come in and tell you, hey, I have a headache, this and that. So he will still also help them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Some homeopathy. So I grew up.
You saw
in that environment.
all of that. He was helping with the dentistry, but then he was also helping them like as a human being,
right?
Like wanting to assist them in ailing whatever whatever it was.
Yeah.
No, that's really beautiful. Your mom?
My mom. So interesting enough, she is a master marine biologist.
That is incredible.
Yeah. So they're both, very academic, but she earlier in her career learned that there was no money in marine biology. So
I had no.
Especially, in Mexico, you practically go on research and you have to find a good lab, and, there's a whole thing there.
Yeah.
So she completely did a 180 switch and she went into sales. So she worked for many international companies, and she eventually did some work for the Mexican government, just doing.
So very smart parents, very intellectually gifted parents. No, that's but also wanting to help, help their people. And look, it rubbed off on you, and
right.
So now you
Here we are.
Yeah. So okay. Now, when did you is it considered a practice what you do?
Yeah.
Okay, so when did you officially start your practice?
So I started my own practice in 2022, roughly.
Okay.
2021, 2022.
So 4 years, 5 years, something like that?
Yeah.
And whenever you started, what was your, who were you trying to assist first? Was it just everybody? Was it the Mexican population? Was it, you know what I mean? Was it, because there, I feel like there's so many ways you can go about it, and I just don't understand. So where did you start?
So I started my practice with the thought of helping as many people as I can.
Okay.
And definitely with an emphasis in the Hispanic community in the Valley, because me as a Mexican going through, immigration, going through that hardship of literally leaving everything that you know of life behind and kind of starting over, it's not easy, right? And so understanding that piece of what immigrants go through, I really wanted to help them in a way that they can be helped for. What I was finding here in the Valley, at least, is that there was a lot of clinics that focused in, non-insured, low-income based people, and they just automatically assume that Hispanics and Latin American communities fall into this category of low-income needed communities, which is very, very false. And so I knew that there was something else that I could assist and being part of that care, right? And so for me, it was all about education and really giving them and empowering them and teaching them about what is happening, what is their disease, what does it mean, what does the future look like, right? Because the amount of patients that I got when I was doing my training clinically of patients that were diagnosed with diabetes, but they didn't even understand what diabetes was, how the medication that they were taking worked, what does it look like? How are they supposed to change their lifestyle, right? They don't know any of that. They weren't educated in those things. And so for me, I found that need, right? And so that's where I really wanted to do a lot of work in the Hispanic and Latin American community here.
So, I don't know how you're going to answer this. So, before social media, well, maybe you were already on social media in 2022 or whatever. But before on TikTok, you have 15,000 followers, right? Great job, by the way. Before that, and before you were like showing educational content, how were you educating the Hispanic community? Like, was it because it couldn't have just been one-on-one, like, or I mean, yes, it had to have been one-on-one, but like it couldn't have just been as a patient. Like, were there other things that you were doing out in the community to help?
Yeah, I mean, so I would try to do a lot of the health fairs that are out there. I would, I've been in Telemundo and Univision and a lot of these bigger platforms, right? That have a bigger reach in terms of education. And so that was like more of the out of clinic place. In the clinic, and the ability for me to take time with my patients. For example, I only see 8, maximum 10 patients a day, right? And so if you talk to anybody else that's in,
It's like 14 or 18 or even 22 patients in a day, right?
I know physicians that see 40 to 50 patients a day.
What is that, 10 minutes per patient? If that?
Right. And again, I want to be clear that this doesn't fall on the physician.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. It's the system that they're working for that's creating this environment of quantity instead of quality care and money and
And that's why I wanted to emphasize so much, like how what it sounds like is that you really do care about the people that you see, and you're giving them ample time to like really explain to them like what's happening.
Correct.
So, I mean, this is going to be a tangent here, but like, have you do you have any success story or and I know it's weird, like, if you say it to the camera, it's weird. If I ask it, then it's fine. Yeah. So have you had a success story or somebody that like did not know anything about whatever it is that you were like showing them, whether it was diabetes, whether it was this or whether it was that, and then you were able to educate them, and then you physically, whether it's blood work or whatever, saw a difference? What do you have something like that?
Oh, I have.
Well, tell me one of them. Okay, well, tell me one that you can think of.
In terms of the diabetes conversation, which is a very popular, unfortunately, disease, right?
Yeah.
I've been able to help patients reverse the diabetes, about 4 patients, considering we have about 3,300 patients revolving in practice right now. Obviously, not everyone is diabetic, but just so you get a context of
how many patients you see.
Right. But yeah, about 4 of them, through the change of lifestyle, understanding why they got diabetes, whether it's through looking at their genetics, right? Because I do a lot of genetic testing on patients, because your genetics is really your...
the blueprint of who you are.
Not only who you are, but how you work and how your body does things, from processing foods to creating different hormones to metabolism, right? So there's a vast information that comes from your genome that not a lot of people understand, right? And so if I understand from testing why you have diabetes, then we get to the root cause of the problem, and now we can really make a change right in the patient.
Wow.
And a lot of it is lifestyle. I mean, diabetes is a 100% environmentally driven disease, right? In terms of, if you are doing the right things, if you're exercising, if you're eating well, if you're resting, if you're sleeping, the risk of diabetes maybe is there if you have your parents, grandparents, X, Y, and Z that are also diabetic, but you can really make a lot of changes in your presentation of the potential disease, right? And so these patients that I was mentioning, it took a while, probably took a year and a half, but they were able to completely eliminate their use of medications for their managing of their diabetes. Now they changed their mindset, right? And so they view food and what they put in their mouth as medicine. So they don't see it as I'm going to go eat.
Or like,
You know?
yeah. So you've taught them to not look at it like how social media teaches them to look at it,
Right.
which is energy or fuel. And wow, that's a really smart way of doing it.
Yes, because if they know that what they're eating is literally changing and helping their body, right? That completely changes that relationship with your food. And so now you're going to be very diligent into picking those right nutrients that your body needs so it works better, right? And so that's one piece. The exercise, right? And so, I mean, these are people that now, not even in their birthdays, will they eat, a full slice of cake, for example. So they're very mentally strong individuals. And so that's where I think the biggest, problem that I see on people that are wanting to make a change is the dedication and their will to continue to do it, because it's not easy, right?
Yeah.
Making a change like that 180, you might do it for 3 months, 6 months, right? But then you'll fall back into maybe start eating other things that you shouldn't be eating. And so for diabetic patients specifically, that can happen, right? It's like you make a change and that is the rest of your life if you want to avoid that disease.
And now I want us to then talk about where peptides came into your practice.
Mm-hmm.
Did you start with did you start knowing what peptides were, or did you integrate peptides into your practice because of some sort of scientific study that you saw?
Yeah. So I did not learn about peptides in school, right?
Okay.
That was an additional training that I did after graduation, which is through the American Association of Anti-Aging Medicine, which is called A4M. So it's one of the largest worldwide.
And before you continue, for the audience and for me,
Yeah.
look at me and tell me what peptides are, because everyone says the word,
Yeah.
but what actually are peptides?
So you can think of peptides as small proteins, right? So proteins, if you look at the chain of production, proteins are made of a bunch of amino acids,
Okay.
at least 40 linked together. But peptides are before they have that full reaction leading into a protein, right? So they're practically amino acids,
Okay.
right? But the difference is that they are very targeted signaling molecules. So they're meant to come in, either turn things on, turn things off, tell the body how to navigate and how to guide certain production of things, and then they leave the body. Right?
Interesting.
And so they're very targeted, very powerful molecules. And so I always tell patients, especially because of the popularity of peptides, right, over the last couple of years, they're powerful medications, which they should be taking into consideration as such. They shouldn't be as supplements because they're not supplements, right? They can be very, very powerful. They can also be very, very detrimental, right? They could cause a lot of harm if they're misused, if they're given to the wrong patient, if they're given in the wrong environment, right? And so that is something that I always try to educate patients on with peptides, especially now with the boom of the research, clandestine, if you will, facilities that are making them, where you don't know, the quality of them, you don't know the third-party testing, you don't know the really the details when it comes to a medication that you should be aware of.
Okay. So yeah. Now, if you can, because I know I cut you off, but you did not learn about them in school,
Right.
So you so then where did these amino acids come in? Just because you made it sound so simple, so it was just crazy how you which is good. As a doctor, you should be able to just make things very simple
Right.
for the person, especially for somebody like me. I consider myself just a regular ass person. So this is anyway. So where did they come in your practice and in your life, really?
Yeah, so I started using them probably about 5 years ago. To
You
be honest,
personally started using them?
personally and prescribing them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Starting with the most popular one, semaglutide.
Okay.
Right. So semaglutide, very, very popularized compound for weight loss.
Okay.
Right. Wegovy, Ozempic.
Okay.
You've heard of those things.
Yeah.
And so semaglutide works on the GLP-1 receptor, which is practically working in your digestion to help your body reduce the rate of digestion so you feel more full without having the need of like certain cravings or eating constantly, right? So it does curb a lot of that appetite for a patient. So that's where they were seeing the weight loss. I was using them originally for inflammation. So I was micro dosing semaglutide for a lot of these chronic inflammatory patients because we understand the piece of the metabolic inflammation on patients. And so by giving them this compound, their whole body systemic inflammation would significantly be reduced. So I wasn't doing it for weight loss. I was doing it for diabetes, right? Which is how this compound started. So that's really where I started using semaglutide. And then obviously the development of BPC 157, thymosin beta 5, all of this more popularized compounds came into play.
Okay. So was that the only one that you were like using personally?
No, personally, I practically used all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And like, I mean, of course I want you to be honest and stuff, but like you, I can imagine like your mind whenever it comes to all of this and you see something that could help in a bunch of different ways. Right. So like what was going through you? Like, do you remember when you first found out about it? Like what was going through your mind? Was it like, oh my gosh, like the pain or see, this is what I want to learn from you is like, was it first the inflammation? I'll be able to heal mine and other people's inflammation. Was it I'd be able to help my patients lose weight this way? Was it the healing factor? Was it so like what was the first thing that like came to your head?
I think it's a combination of everything.
Okay.
Right? I mean,
okay.
especially in my space of practicing medicine, I'm always staying up to date on the newest, latest innovation of medicine, right? Like
I would hope so.
Yeah. In a month, I'm going to the Dominican Republic for a stem cell conference, right? So we're going to be learning about the new developments of stem cell and their treatments into some of the diseases, right? So it's an always evolving environment and field, the longevity field, which has caught a lot of popularity over the last maybe 8-10 years. And so peptides are a component, if you will, of that learning, right, in that integrative medicine field, right? But again, it's just going back into the foundation as a naturopathic physician myself, which is personalizing care, right? Because the more tools that I have in my tool belt, the more that I can specialize and target my treatment for the patient, right? So that piece of peptides opens up another tool bag, right, that I can offer patients.
100%. So let's talk about, okay, so it's personally, selfishly, I have never taken any of these. And as a male, and I'll be very vulnerable with you here. I've seen people utilize BPC 157. LPG1. What is it again?
GLP-1.
I can never get it. So I've seen I have a friend who is like a martial art jujitsu, and so like he does the BPC 157.
Yeah.
And then I've seen this, and now this is me personally. I've always I want to recover better from working out. I do 6 days out of the week I work out.
Nice.
I I feel like I'm 31 years old. I want to get back into the best shape of my life. I was, and then I started a business, and then I got a little overweight, and now I'm getting back to it. I want to have better sex. I want, I don't think that I lost testosterone, but I think that the stress from building a business and constantly worrying and all this kind of stuff ruined me in some way, shape, or form. And so it seems like
The
peptides, it seems like peptides are the thing that you are supposed to do now.
Right.
Because they're what everyone was missing. Gives you better sex, reduction of wait time for working out, whatever it's called, like your recovery time.
Yeah.
It does all of the things that everybody's wanted. It's the magic pill.
Yeah.
So, what is your response to this being the end all be all magic pill? Is it or is it not?
They're powerful, very, very powerful molecules. Again, but they should be taken as medications, prescriptions, right? It's not something that you should go buy on internet and then start injecting yourself, right?
Because there are people purchasing
100%.
and then reselling.
Yep.
And I don't know where they are coming from. I don't know, like what you said earlier, like I don't know if, and I don't know the terminology, like you said, third-party testing and things like that, but like, I don't even know, like, is it BPC 157 that I'm actually getting? And so like, but then I also don't know somebody like you until today who understands it sounds like you have to, like, what I'm assuming is you have to do blood.
Yep.
Blood testing.
Yep.
You have to test your blood. You have to do all of these. Like,
Right.
So,
Well, I think understanding if you are looking for the magic bullet, right? At the end of the day, there's nothing out there. There are people looking for it, right? But there's nothing out there that's going to do the one thing for everyone, right? Because we're so complex as humans. My approach is more into understanding why you think you need an additional help on those things, or you have an actual problem on those things. Because if there is an actual problem of your metabolism, right? You're increasing weight, and you are trying lifestyle changes and it's not making a dent, right? You're tired all the time. You're not sleeping well, right? If we don't understand why you're feeling that way, I can give you, the world and
nothing will help.
We might hit, the jackpot in one of those and you might feel awesome and great, but we very well might not, right? So the number one thing is understanding what's going on, not only in the presentation of your symptoms, but also in your physiology, right? Internally in your body, what is happening, right? What is your body going through? How do we help your body work better? And that's where the peptides can come in place, because if I know that your problem is metabolism, or if I know your problem is visceral fat, right? And so now I have very specific tools, including peptides, any other variations of treatments that I can now target.
Got it. So now, and that was me as a male, as a 31-year-old male, with I was gonna say zero to no sleep, little sleep. I sleep. That's the most important part, is what it feels like. But stress, anxiety, and probably all of that ruins my metabolism in some way, shape, or form,
100%.
because all of that has to do with the human function. But now, can you talk to me about women with peptides? And we're not mansplaining here. Okay, this is I'm curious because I understand that there is a menstrual cycle that happens in women every month. And then I'm going to mess this up somehow, but there's a luteal phase. There's a follicular phase, thank you. then the actual the ovulation phase, and then the last one's the last one.
It's your period.
Period. Is it? Yeah. Okay. So the 4 phases. Thank you, and then the fact that you say thank you as a doctor. So those 4 phases affect a woman in so many different ways. It affects their energy. It affects their mood. It affects. I mean, it is painful. It is like there's so many different things. So, how do you navigate helping a woman learn about peptides, what is that? What has that looked like for you?
Yeah, it's the same process, right? Understanding their need and where is the default and where are things not working well and how do we maximize that? To your point, yeah, for women, the hormonal component is huge, not only for peptides, but for really any treatment, right? Understanding, how their fluctuation of hormones goes through the cycle is important to understand, right? But when it comes to actually prescribing the peptides, right, there's not, the only ones that can make a difference is, for example, the growth hormone secretagogues, right? So this is like the CJC 1 to 1295, the apomorelin, the tesamorelin, all of these kind of categories. Because that will eventually stimulate more of a growth hormone, which is hormone, obviously, that gets secreted from your pituitary gland, which is a small little gland that sits in the middle of your brain. And then that sends a signal downstream to your body, understanding and letting that information go through the production of hormones, right? And so growth hormone can affect women's cycle. It can affect growth, tissue development, regeneration, sleep, circadian rhythm, right? So it can affect a lot of things. And so that's one that I've seen maybe a few patients, that were more sensitive to. And these were patients that already had an issue with their cycle. So they had very irregular cycles. They had very heavy cycles, very heavy periods. And so understanding that, and some of these compounds can exacerbate those symptoms, right? So it is good to just have a good clinical picture of, what is happening with you internally, what are your goals, understanding everything is key.
Yeah, you need to know you need to know what the person is trying to do, whether whether the woman is 57 years old or 27 years old. So
100%.
I guess, and I'm going to say the last question, but it's not the last question. I have so many questions. And I don't know how to ask this, so I'm just curious, is somebody who takes SSRIs, do peptides affect the effects of SSRIs?
They can. Yeah, there are some that it will affect serotonin production in general. And so understanding again where you are. Yeah. But yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because I've seen patients with like the GLPs. Yeah. Right? That will just, they find a dosing protocol online. And then they've never exposed themselves in subcutaneous injections. And so they don't understand.
And that's under the skin? Is that what that means?
Under the skin. So they don't really understand the volume that they're supposed to be drawing. What is units? What is milliliters, right? The amount of patients that I get from my prescriptions, right? And we make it clear and we give them a pamphlet explaining to them what it is and how to measure it, right? And so the amount of patients that I get calling the office asking, hey, is this right for injections? And now I think about all of this other people that are getting them from who knows where.
From TikTok and from Instagram.
Yeah. And then they're giving them, well, inject yourself this, right? And then what if they don't inject the right dose? What if they're injecting 4 times the dose? Especially on those GLPs, they can be very powerful. They've also let people into going to the hospital because of a full GI blockage, right? And so they're literally, digestion will shut off if they are dosing, the medication not properly. And so that's where a lot of the danger of this peptides, and really anything, anything that you take has a benefit, a risk. our lives, our lives are to mitigate and understanding the risk to benefit. And as long as the benefit outweighs the risk, you're going to do it, right? Yeah. We drive every day. Driving is risky, right?
Very risky, 100%.
So, all of these things that we do that sometimes we, don't really think about, and medication and medicine is the same way.
It's no different.
It's a risk and benefit thing. So it's about understanding. It's about, doing it in a more informative way. So,
wow. Man, you're good. And I like how you bring it back to we have to understand what's going on, because, and there's no gotcha moments or anything like that. It's it's really, I'm not a doctor, and I don't pretend to be, and I'm not trying to tell people what to do. So I'd rather you tell the audience and tell people, and especially people who just go on YouTube and get their information from TikTok and Instagram and I guess that'll bring me to my next little segment here, because I have a couple videos that I want you to just tell me what your thoughts are on them, and I don't think that it's going to be too crazy.
Sure.
But I just I have an inkling from some of the videos that I found. But before that, let me go ahead and we'll go to a break real quick.
This episode is brought to you by 5 Flash Media.
Hey, don't you have an event coming up that you need live video production for?
I think I do. Who should I call?
You should probably call 5 Flash Media, and you can reach them on all social medias at 5 Flash Media.
Okay, I'm going to do that because I heard that they're the best at everything. Anything video, photography, mobile podcasting. I mean, who's doing our show right now?
5 Flash Media.
Go to 5 Flash Media on all platforms.
So we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so and before we go into this next segment, I kind of wanted to talk about my mother, and the reason why I bring that up is because my mother is from Gomez Palacio, Durango, and I should know more Spanish than I do. My whole family, the crazy amount of family that I have in Mexico. I only have my grandmother, mother, father, sister, and then obviously a girlfriend, but from the family. And everybody, my second cousin, third cousins, fourth, fifth, and seventh cousins at this point, because everybody had 5 kids.
Right.
They're all over there. And so my mother, she has diabetes. And there are... And so one of the reasons why I ask you all of these questions, or why I haven't even asked about the diabetes stuff yet, but I have seen her go through a lot health-wise, and she's always been there for me. When I was younger, I had WPW, Wolff-Parkinson's-White syndrome. My heart stopped whenever I was in middle school or elementary school. She then became a duty aide, and then from there became a teacher, so that way she could be closer to me. And I greatly appreciated that, because obviously, no one, who else was going to look out for me other than my own mother? So right. I greatly appreciated it. And so then as and it had to have been the how you were talking about it before, how she grew up, her lifestyle, her genetics. She developed diabetes. Unfortunately, she started getting floaters in her eyes, and so now she is she's trying I'm going to say it wrong again, LPG1. What is it again? GLP-1. And she's just barely starting it, but I don't think that she's doing it correctly. Because I think that and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like there should be a level of exercise.
100%.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if this or this was a. I feel like there should be a level of exercise. I feel like there should be a level of water electrolyte intake. I feel like there should be a level of like healthy food eating, and then I feel like the sleep has got to be important. So, is there anything that I'm missing from all of those things? Because you're my third party leverage here. What for I'm assuming that you see Hispanic patients that have diabetes or are
Pre-diabetes.
Thank you, pre-diabetic, and you're trying to help them either not be diabetic or fully
Right.
reverse their diabetes.
So for the GLPs, if you're doing it for diabetes, right? Not for weight loss, but just for diabetes, yes to all what you mentioned, right? And that should be like your foundation. That should be what they're starting with. And then you're adding this layer of treatments that will complement what they're already doing, right? But the GLPs in general, the biggest, especially for women, and especially for menopausal women, the risk of osteoporosis is significantly higher already on menopausal females.
And what's osteoporosis?
Osteoporosis is that demineralization of the bone. Right?
Got it.
So weakening of your bones practically. So now they are already predisposed into having an increased risk because they're already in a menopausal state, which means that their hormones are not there protecting the bone. So one, they should be looking at their hormones. Two, exercise is huge because if you're not exercising, the thing that you're going to stimulate your bone health is by muscle, right? So muscle is attaches to the bone. Muscle moves bone, right? And so if you're not exercising, if you're not doing strength training, if you're not doing jump roping, if you're not doing these things, one, you will inevitably lose weight because that's just unfortunately or fortunately part of the medication, whether you're doing it for weight loss or not, patients will lose weight, right? And so if you're not protecting the muscle piece, they will inevitably lose muscle.
Wow.
And so for females, again, going back into the important piece, because they are already at an increased risk of muscle loss or, this type of process. And so if you give them a compound that's going to speed up that muscle loss because they're not working out, now they're at a significant increased risk of osteoporosis and issues with their bone, right? And so, everyone, for example, in my clinic, we have, it's called an in-body body composition test. And so it's a machine that can tell me not only your weight, but it can tell me your distribution of weight. So you can tell me how much muscle you have, how much fat, how much water, how much visceral fat you have. From there, now I understand what is the distribution of your weight. And now if we give them a medication, whether it's a GLP, whether it's a terseptide, which is a dual signal molecule, or whether it's the new one, retatrutide, we track their progress to ensure that they're not losing the muscle that would be alarmingly clinically speaking, right? So every 6 weeks or every 4 weeks, they would come back, we would do another scan, and we would see their progress. What I want to see is, sure, a reduction in weight, but a maintained or improved muscle volume and a decrease in total body fat percentage, right? That is someone that is doing the right thing. If I'm seeing everything down, they're maybe going to feel happy because they feel like they've lost a ton of weight, but they've also lost 5 pounds of muscle. And muscle is more fibrous, is more dense than fat, right? And so it's going to show up, and that's where the fat of, I'm sure you've seen it, the Ozempic face, right?
Yeah, where it's like almost bony.
Yeah, Right. That's because their composition, right, their makeup underneath the skin and on that all that fat loss or adipose loss, there's no preservation. There's no matrix that's maintaining the tissue, right? Because there's no muscle.
Wow.
So that's where really exercising and hydration, going back to what you mentioned, it's key, right? So yeah, we track those things, and if they're not, or if we notice a significant drop in their muscle, I will not refill their medication.
That's really that's
You know?
that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these clinics, med spas are now, able to prescribe them, and so one, they're not really tracking a lot of these things.
Yeah.
And they're just giving it out, one, for financial purposes because they're making a lot of money. But they're not looking at the implications on patients, right? And so you really have to be working with someone that understands and is, at the end of the day, reducing your risk.
Wow. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And Mom, that was for you. So whenever she sees this, I love you. All right. Now, there's a couple TikToks that all you got to do is just listen.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to hear it. So here's the first one. And I'll cut it off probably in 30 seconds or something.
Okay.
Chemicals to get hotter and smarter while they build the bots that take your job.
Hold on.
This is the next
there you go.
trillion-dollar market. Injectable drugs ordered from Chinese labs, mixed in office kitchens, and injected into your arm with a syringe from Amazon. Welcome to the world of peptides. Science lesson, peptides are short-chain amino acids that tell your cells what to do. GLP-1s are the most famous class right now. Ozempic, Wegovy. Right now, 1 in 8 Americans has tried at least one of these. That market is projected at $100 billion by 2030. That's roughly 1% of the entire American economy. It's bigger.
So, the first thing that she said, what are your thoughts? People getting go ahead, please.
Yeah, so I think that's going back into the piece of this clandestine market, right? Because the problem with the political environment is that once there was a lot of changes politically speaking, they categorize a lot of these compounds into category 2 under the FDA, which means that a lot of this registered compounding pharmacies in the U.S. were not able to make those anymore. And these are peptides, right? And so they were placed in this category that didn't allow them to make them. So now that creates an environment because the need and the consumer need is still there. So now all this clandestine research labs found a gap. They created a, company, and now they're making them, right, and distribute them to directly consumer without a prescription. And so, yeah, a lot of these compounds come from Asia, the Middle East. The problem with the sourcing is really not where they come from, but is what they do once they receive them. If you're not doing heavy metal testing, if you're not doing the proper due diligence purity testing on your compounds, you might be getting not only maybe a subsection of, a peptide, but you might also be getting heavy metal toxins, endotoxins, which are derivatives of whether it's a fungal, bacterial, right, that kind of grew, creates a certain environment that's toxic. And so now you're injecting that into your body. I've seen that. I've literally seen people, and there's the worst horror story is a patient that injected peptides from, whatever company. He ended up getting septic, which is practically a whole body bacterial infection, had to go to the hospital and died, right? And so this is not something to play with. So that's why understanding the sourcing is really important. Now, the current political environment, it's kind of shifting into trying to move those compounds away from that category 2 and allowing them to be compounded again. I think that's the best thing that can happen. Not because of the, a lot of the conventional docs tell me, well, it's still very lacking research. There's still not, double-blind, placebo-controlled information, understanding, what therapies and where they're being given to. And I understand that piece, but also it's about, at the end of the day, is protecting the population and the community, right? And so if you are able to take that research clandestine component away from population, and now you're really guided into a compounded pharmacy that is legally registered under FDA, that it has very specific and is monitoring the quality of production and care. Now we can really have a product that is safe and obviously in a lot of these patients effective.
Wow.
So.
All right. I have, now this one is a female who might have, and that's the thing, whenever I hear this, I don't know what she's talking about because you just said to Retta something, peptides that I didn't even know about. So this right here.
Peptide 101, we're going to talk about my top 5 favorite peptides. One being GHKCU, which is your beauty peptide, so think skin health and hair. Then we have MOTC, which focuses on mitochondrial health, so that's going to help with energy as well as increases your cardiovascular capacity and basically just gives you a big boost in metabolism as well. Makes your body act like you're doing cardio even when you're asleep. Tesamorelin, which is going to produce more growth hormone, so it helps with muscle building as well as hitting visceral fat. NAD+, which is your anti-aging peptide. Your body produces less and less NAD the older that you get. So this is basically for cellular renewal and turnover. It gives you a little bit of energy. And then lastly, we have the newest GLP that everyone is talking about that starts with an R that TikTok will not let me say. But it burns all of your fat, boosts your metabolism, actually helps you build muscle, maintains your muscle mass, and helps with insulin sensitivity.
Okay, so
A lot to digest there. Well, I don't know that individual's background. I don't know if she's medical or not, but that's one thing that I've seen a lot. I'm sure you've seen, right? All these influencers misinforming the community, especially when it comes to health and wellness, right? Because it's $1 trillion industry, right? And so they're trying to capitalize, which I understand, and they have the bandwidth, they have the space, they have the followers, so they just found a space and they capitalize that. But it's coming at a cost, and the cost is the patients, right? And there's people that don't understand that component that I was mentioning of very powerful compounds. And now, see, if I didn't know, right, and if I learned or if I heard that, I would be like, I'm going to buy every single one of those peptides.
right? Even from
Right.
a pretty girl
Yeah.
on TikTok who sounds like she knows what she's talking about.
Right. So, and now they're taking 5, 6 different peptides. How do they know how they're interacting with each other? How do they know when to take those? Do they even need any of these?
Exactly.
Right?
But
And
it sounds
so-
good because she just said that there's a beauty peptide.
Right.
She said there's a metabolism peptide. She said that there is a regenerative peptide. She said that there's one where you take the peptide and you lose weight while you sleep. Peptide. So
Yeah. So, and that's where the biggest problem is, and that's where myself, in terms of my community, is educating, right, and exposing them into this conversations because they need to understand that these are not supplements. Even supplements have their risks, right, when they're not taken properly, right? And so everything that you take has to be considered a drug, right? And a therapeutic molecule. And so if you have that mindset and understanding, I think you'll be making better choices, but that's the problem is that, and then the accessibility, because if I were just hearing that, I would be like, well, I'm going to try to find those. Maybe 3-4 years ago, when they would be trying to find those, they wouldn't be able to. They would have to go to a physician that would have to prescribe those to them, right? It was very, very rare or very hard to find those without a prescription. But now you can literally go on the internet.
Now I went to a barber and he had them. I'm serious.
Injectables?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
In a
little fridge.
yeah.
Yeah. I know. That's what I'm saying.
And that's one of the biggest reasons why I haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Anything, because I'm like, at first it sounded perfect, and then it sounded too good to be true and too accessible.
Yeah. That's a good point of the accessibility piece, right? I mean, an injection, how can I get an injectable compound in the US? If we're in Mexico, say, hey, it's fine, it's Mexico. I can get anything. But if it's here, the amount of regulation that, we think that it takes place.
That part, yeah.
And then we're like, I can just buy it without like a prescription. That should be the number one red flag, 100%.
Especially if it's something that is like injecting into your body.
Correct. Yeah.
With a needle.
Right.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna be done with that because I did have more, but we're not gonna. I think that one just summed up everything that I was looking for. So I'm going to bring up your TikTok right now, and this is, I want to do it on camera. I'm gonna follow you right now, and this is Dr. David Gallegos. And I just want to do the first 2 pinned posts.
Hola, yo soy el Dr. David Gallegos, aquí de Modern Medicine AZ, y nos han llegado muchas preguntas últimamente acerca del aspecto del seguro médico y si lo aceptamos, qué tipo de seguros aceptamos. La respuesta es no aceptamos seguros médicos. Nosotros personalmente no estamos contratados con ninguna compañía de seguro médico.
Before I do the full 10-minute video, what did you just say right there, and why was this pinned?
It's really, again, going back to the education piece. And so we wanted to make sure that people and potential patients understand that we don't take insurance right in our clinic. And so understanding that coming into the clinic, they should expect already to have that financial piece, right? Understanding that.
Beautiful. And then the second one right here.
Hola, yo soy el Dr. David Gallegos, aquí de Modern Medicine AZ, y quería comentar un poco más el día de hoy acerca de lo que incluye la primer consulta conmigo. La primer consulta, lo que incluye es, obviamente, se les reserva 1 hora de tiempo para que realmente podamos discutir no únicamente de lo que está sucediendo y sus preocupaciones principales, pero también para que podamos responder cualquier pregunta que tengan.
And
what is that?
no, so so I know what it means. I want the audience to know what that means. But I'm seeing that you were very smart with the pinned posts because regardless of it having hundreds of thousands of views, you wanted to make sure the person that came to your profile knew about the insurance and knew about what would happen whenever they first come in.
Right.
Because I feel like that's... now, you're a smart individual, all right? You're not an influencer. That's not... I mean, I want to make you more of an influencer so that way you can have more reach and attention.
Right.
So that way, the goal of what you're trying to do can get... You can get to that goal. I really appreciate that you posted the videos that will help the people come in, and that it is in Spanish. Mm-hmm. I haven't. I've seen some of your videos, and some of them are in Spanish, and some of them are in English. So, do you have more of a Hispanic patient group coming in?
Yeah, I'd probably say we have like 80% Spanish-speaking patients and about 20% English.
That's beautiful. So my and I'll end it right here. But my so what I do, we've kind of talked about it a little bit, is I do. Let me change the camera angle so that way you don't have to. There you go. What I do is I do social media management for a whole array of different industries. I also do the photo, video, all that kind of stuff. I do content strategy. I've been doing this for a long time. One of the things that I tell a new client or somebody who's like coming in, just so that way we can like have this conversation, is and side note, I am grateful that you're already at 15,000 followers. Mm-hmm. Usually people who are there, and I don't know what popped. I haven't done enough research to see what videos like went semi-viral for you to get to 15,000, right?
Yeah.
And maybe you know already, and you're proud of whatever they were, or not proud. I mean, they could be both.
Right.
But I'm grateful that you're there, because typically people are at 200 to 300 followers in the medical care world, because they're only providing education, or they're only it's one of those things. So one of the things that I that I do is I make sure that if somebody comes to me and asks me, help me with my strategy, the number one thing is I tell them, or I ask them, what is it that you do that you never record, that you never talk about, but that you love to do outside of helping, like in the medical practice, whatever it is? Is it driving around on your scooter? Is it skateboarding? Is it drawing? Is it flying a kite? Like the thing that you do that you maybe don't have enough time to do because now you have all of this patient care, but that you did do when you had enough time. What was that? What is that? What is the thing that like is so you? Because everybody is a doctor. Even the influencers are doctors now.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they're not, but they are. You know what I mean? So what I tell people to do, and what I would help you to do, is find something that has nothing to do with your practice, and record you talking about and doing that. And do you understand why? Or because I'm like I don't want this to go on like deaf ears, just like how you're like I'm giving you my prescription here. I'm sure you've witnessed it before, but like going through the rabbit hole of doom scrolling, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Finding something interesting, and then going to them to their profile, to then watching 2 or 3 more videos. And then if you really like what they do, or you really thought that was funny or relatable, then you'll look at their bio, and then you'll see like who they are or whatever. And then you're like, oh shit. Like not like the person, he's 2 miles away from me, and I'm just making shit up, but he's a pediatrician. And anyway, so it's like you go down this rabbit hole. And so what I find and what I see is that like people get stuck in this education. I don't know. I keep wanting to say rabbit hole, but it's like they get in this. They get stuck as a educator,
Right.
which is fine. But you also need to be relatable. You also need to be funny. You also need to like show your humanity in other forms. And so the one hobby, the one thing that you can find that is that could be a niche thing, like making buñuelos. What are they called? Like tamales, like cooking, doing all of these things. Something that like is so not what you post, but it is what you do, and it is who you are to your core. But you don't post it. Those are the things that you should be doing 9 posts of, and then 1 post. That 10th post is, oh yeah, also, I'm a medical doctor who helps with this, and this. Oh, and also peptides. Now, you're doing really well already. Okay, so like if it's not broke, don't try and fix it. Because I do see you've got 56,000 views here. Hold on, this one.
Hola, yo soy Dr. David Gallegos, aquí de Modern Medicine.
56,000 views. You got 2,000, 17,000, and 26,000 views on the first one, right? So great content. Like you have an audience, you have a community, and so that's just my piece.
Yeah. I like that.
The second part is what's different about you that you can implement like tomorrow, and we are not doing this tomorrow, but I would love to do this with you, is creating a show within your practice, and it would be a telenovela. And I don't know, have you ever seen those short reels, real shorts?
Yeah.
where they're so dramatic and stupid, and they just get you hooked. And there's like 47 videos, and then at the end of the 47th video, you have to pay, so nobody pays. But like you just keep watching these stupid little dramas.
Yeah.
That is what you should be doing in your practice, because not only do you understand like the dramatization of what that would look like, but you can, I mean, the scripting would be so easy, especially with what you know. It's like and then we could set it in Spanish. And then people won't even, the white people won't understand, but they'll see the dramatization of like the flowing hair and the this and then she's pregnant, but she also takes peptides and she's this, and then this and then that. And so like, and they could be 15-second like short stories, excuse me. And so this is what I've been thinking about for you.
Yeah.
This entire like since I met you, since I looked at your stuff, because what could happen and what would happen if you implement this is that people will come for the story and then they'll receive the information.
Right. Yeah, I like that.
So that's my little piece right there. All right, I am going. We are at our time actually. You got to leave here soon. Guys, thank you so much. My name is Joshua Coates, and your overnight success story. Please tell them your first and last name and where to find you, and I'll put you back on TikTok right here. Go ahead.
Yeah, so David Gallegos. You can find us on our website, which is modmedaz.com. You could also call us 480-371-3690 on our TikTok, Instagram accounts, which is right here.
Right there.
Right.
Yeah, right there. Perfect. Guys, thank you so much. And Mr. David Gallegos, thank you. Seriously, thank you so much for this. This was incredible.
No, thank you for having me. This is awesome. Thank you.
All right. See you guys. Bye.